Hi, you two.
Hi, the roles are
Oh,
really reversed now.
it's so fun for me to get to do this today because I don't know, I was just reflecting on I've known you guys for such a long time and I love you both and I've gotten to watch each of you go on these incredible journeys both separately and then together as entrepreneurs and I'm just I was like thinking about it and I feel like god, I'm so proud of them.
That's so nice.
That's so nice. I know we've there's been a lot of lives lived in our
hmm
friendship.
So let's start back at the beginning. We don't have to traverse across the whole story because we told it on your podcast, the world's last podcast, best podcast, first podcast.
Something
What's it
like that.
called?
The world's first podcast. But I was going to say, you and Sarah have a very deep history, and you and our history has really cranked up a notch in the last 6 months.
Since I did your pod, Erin, I feel like you're now my best friend and
I
Sarah's
know.
below you.
I know. I mean, the non-toxic mom chat, don't be toxic, has really brought us together because we have such a shared passion, and you've been a fantastic addition to the chat.
Thank you. I would say it's a shared psychosis maybe, but
Yeah,
that's
that's fine.
okay.
It's like
What's
it's
so funny
toxic.
is I said to Erin, I was like, Erin, you're just like pushing Gwyneth to be on your chat. She doesn't want to be on your chat. She's like, why are you pushing? Her kids are she's an empty nester now. She doesn't want to be on your little baby mom chat. Cut to, to find out you're very active on the chat.
Great
Listen,
addition.
thank you. I take it seriously. I take my role seriously. I take, I it's a very
It's a big deal bringing someone new into the chat because, I mean, I said this to you on the podcast, but like, I've suggested a few different people, and the group's like, no, thank you. I mean, it's
Yeah, I was one of them. I was one of them.
and it's not for people who are curious about a non-toxic life.
no.
That's welcome to the world. It's
You
people
need
who
like your fake PhD.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. You have to
Yeah.
be bringing information, knowledge, and a passion. It can't just be like living fancy free or whatever. Anyway.
That's right.
Anyway, you've been a great addition, and it feels
Thank you
amazing
very
having you
much.
on it, and I love having that connection to you now. I feel closer to you.
Me
I'm so happy.
too. Me
So
too. Me too. And I always love it when I can, find freaks like me to talk about microplastics with. It's very validating.
And
Nothing
I always
better.
love giving, Erin her friends, her other best friends. You're welcome, Erin.
Spoken like someone who's toxic and can't be on our chat.
That's a real development. Did you steal her real best friend?
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
Jen and I have been getting close for the last 5 years, and it's really kicked into high gear, and she comes over like 3 times a week. I mean, because she's developed like a strong, strong bond with my baby.
Sarah, how does that make you feel?
I mean, you know that I suffer from this thing that you don't suffer from. It's getting a lot better. Gwyneth, and we said it on our pod, does not have FOMO. She doesn't have FOMO. She's securely attached. She's confident. She never feels threatened. I always feel threatened. I'm like in this fight or flight mode always, but it's totally better. Like I'm actually very happy for you two to have this, whatever this relationship is that you two are building that I'm sure won't, sustain the way that yours and mine has. But like, I'm happy for you guys to have it. I'm happy for her and Jen. Jen will always be my best friend, but it's good.
Okay, good. Well, this brings me actually to my first question because so a few years ago you started a fantastic clothing brand called Favorite Daughter that's like become incredibly successful. So proud of you guys. How many retail stores do you have now?
We have Beverly Hills, our flagships in Beverly Hills on South Beverly. It's beautiful. We're proud of it.
Really, really beautiful.
We had Palisades, and then we'll be opening hopefully 2. On the roadmap is 2 by the end of the year.
Amazing. So I kind of want to start there because, I feel like you guys have, there's so many young women in their 20s who kind of have an idea of what they want to do or don't necessarily feel fully empowered to go after their dream. I feel like you guys had a gestational period where you were sort of figuring it out, right? It was like, are you going to act full time? Are you going to write full time? Are you going to invest? Are you going to influence, for lack of a better word? Like there was kind of a lot percolating simultaneously. And then all of a sudden, like some major things took hold and got traction. And kind of around the same time. So Favorite Daughter, I didn't see the clothing thing coming. It was such a good surprise. And sort of starting with the seed of like you guys and your like fake competition of one another. Obviously the brand is favorite daughter. So inherently in that is like the dynamic is, is expressed, brought to light. So will you tell me a little bit about that period in your lives, right? Like Erin, you were totally trying to find a husband. Sara, you were sort of like, what am I actually going to focus on? You were raising your kids. So that was taking so much of your mind share, but you also had ambitions to do other things. You guys it's like, if I think back to 5 years ago, you guys are sort of like floating, trying to kind of nail it down. So how would you articulate the series of events that happened or what happened energetically to lead you guys into this period of clarity and execution and success?
Well, I can just say for myself, because Sarah and we both have different paths, is that my first professional writing job in TV was when I was 29, and I'm now almost 43. And so it was a long time ago, but it was also a little bit of a late start for someone about to turn 30. And I was immediately met with a really challenging situation, and it sort of shook my faith. I was like very
Mm.
clear, I really want to be a writer. I really want to be a professional writer. I loved having that opportunity. But then there was like a stumbling block where I got fired and I questioned if I was good at it or not, and I didn't really know what to do next. So then enter Barely Famous. We end up selling a pitch that we write and produce and create and do our own thing. And it's like, very guerrilla style. We don't make any money on it. We actually like lose money on it. People really like it, but it doesn't really get good ratings. It barely gets a second season. We still continue to not make money on the show. And so you can't
This
really
was the reality show you did.
it wasn't a reality show. It was a scripted show about making fun of two people who would be doing a
Who
reality
would be
show.
right.
Yeah, exactly. So it was like our curb. And that sent us on a different path. But still, you're not making money doing that. And so from there, somebody who wanted to be a writer, creator, showrunner, wasn't really able to have consistency in that. Like I sell a pilot, they don't make the pilot, but you get a little money. I sell a pilot, they make the pilot, but it doesn't get picked up. You make a little money. So during that process, if anybody came to me and said, "Hey, I have this other interesting business idea that I think you should do," I would be like, I could try that too. If it was clothes, if it was a podcast, I was like, I want to stay busy. I want to stay proactive. I don't know how to make my writing career take off. I don't know how to make me a millionaire, make me super successful. So I'm open to things that are interesting and creative to me. And I think in some ways, being open to your life looking a different way does end up putting you on the path you kind of always intended to be on, just differently than you thought it would look.
Right. And Sara?
I think, if I'm being really honest, I spent most of my life not having agency, like at all. Like really just not living in this forward moving energy. I really sat back most of my life just thinking things were going to fall in my lap, because things fell in my lap as a very young person. You know, when you're young and you're 5'9" and people tell you you're attractive and you just sort of think like, okay, well, I'll get opportunities. You know, I moved to Paris when I was 18. I was like, I can make money modeling. I didn't know who I was, as I've been very open about on our own podcast. I had really no self-esteem. I didn't know what I was good at. People told me, "Oh, you'd be good at this." I would try this and I'd be kind of good at it, but I didn't have a plan. I really just didn't have a plan, and I always ended up landing on my feet. So the optics were that like, "Oh yeah, she's doing well. Like her life is good, blah blah blah." But like my life wasn't really good, because when you don't have agency and when you don't have a north star and when you don't know who you are, you're not, as you love to say, you're not living in your integrity. Like it's really just sort of this gray thing. And I, did, I think what a lot of people do, which is I found my identity in who I was dating. So I would date men who did have agency and who were these like larger than life people, because it gave me self-esteem, like, oh, they want to be with me. So then I guess I'm okay. I guess I'm I guess I'm interesting. I
Do
guess
people
I'm like,
know who those people are? I'm not gonna say. I'm just wondering if they do or not.
I don't know. I mean,
Hmm.
everything
Sadly,
is
paparazzi just wasn't around the same way back then, or else we'd have so much more evidence.
You bagged some whales.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely bagged some whales.
The whales that I could have bagged that I didn't bag, that's a far more interesting story. So, yeah, I guess my life really got good when I started being open to new opportunities. Like, I used to look at opportunities and go, okay, if this isn't leading to the thing that I think I want to do, I'm not going to do it. When I started being open to opportunities, not knowing where those opportunities would lead, not necessarily thinking that those opportunities were, what's the word? I don't want to say below me, but like when we took the Bumble position, everybody told us that was a crazy thing to do. People were like, you're finally now just being taken seriously as actress comedians with Barely Famous, because
Right.
it wasn't a huge hit, but the industry took notice. The
Yeah.
industry was kind of like, wait,
Even
those
though
girls are,
Gwyneth thought that it was a reality show.
Guys, that's a
she doesn't.
compliment that
Yeah,
I
but
couldn't
she
tell the
doesn't.
difference.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That means we're really good actresses, Erin. But it was kind of like the first time that comedic agents and executives were like, wait, those girls are funny. Like we need to develop something else with them. So we kind of went from that to then taking the position at Bumble, where we were just
And what was the role at Bumble? You were sort of
we
ambassadors?
were heads of creative. So Whitney basically she loved Barely Famous. Her team loved Barely Famous. She hired us to come speak on a panel, and she was launching the BFF and Biz arm of the app. And
Right.
she was like, I don't know, guys. I think those girls should kind of come in and be our heads of creative. Make finding a friend and a business partner feel relevant, feel cool, feel all the things, right? Like, and so everybody was like, why are you doing that? That feels like, why aren't you writing another show? Anyways, that pivot, and I know we talk about pivots all the time, that pivot led us down a really fruitful road. And
In
I
what
don't know.
sense?
I think it was the first time that Erin and I really worked together
'Cause you're
in
ideating ideas about how to amplify Bumble and their mission, and it's like
But it
creative
also,
stuff.
I think, just opened us up to seeing ourselves differently. I think
yeah,
that I'm sure in some ways for you, Gwyneth, you're like, I identify as an actress. And then you start Goop and you're like, I'm a founder, I'm a
Mhm.
businesswoman, I'm an
Mhm.
investor, I'm a shareholder. Like you become all these different things, and it opens up your mind to, I don't have to be this one thing I set out to be and like limit myself that way.
That's right.
And I think that Whitney was a big part in teaching us, Whitney has a lot of confidence in business and she
Yeah.
doesn't really limit herself in any way.
But don't you feel like we're kind of living in this interesting age where, as soon as you have a platform, you can develop any number of business lines or creative lines out of a platform. It's actually like in one way, it's so incredible and it's so democratizing and empowering. And then in another way, it's sort of like anyone can do it. And then and the possibilities are limitless. But you guys have had real success at it. So why do you think that is? Like, for example, obviously, and we'll get to the show, but from a favorite daughter perspective, I just find it so interesting, right? Because you weren't like, "Oh, I my life's dream is to make a clothing line."
No.
no.
So
No, I
tell
mean
us about the process of that coming to you.
honestly, that falls in the same bucket as what I was saying, like being open to new opportunities. Like it actually, and I don't know if you want to tell the story, Erin, you can tell the Suburban Riot story, but it stemmed from an opportunity that came our way that I was like, why
Came
are
my
we
way.
okay, that it
Here's the
came your
thing.
way.
Here's the
Tell the
thing.
story.
Sarah and I have different strengths. So Sarah is very hardworking. Right? She has almost like a better work ethic than I do. She's got like more ambition than I do. But I am much more open to opportunities because
Yeah.
I don't fear failure the way that Sarah fears failure.
Interesting.
But that's because I failed a lot as a kid and Sarah didn't. Sarah was straight A student. She was always the best at everything that she did. And I was,
Eldest
yeah,
girl.
exactly.
That is an affliction. It's almost like a personality disorder, and I would know.
It
Totally.
is definitely a disorder. No, but I was very used to failing. I didn't get good grades. I didn't make the team. I didn't get, all those things. So I was kind of comfortable in that zone of like, I don't know, maybe I fail and that won't define me because I've failed before.
Interesting. Right.
Sarah had a real fear around that and a fear around failing in front of other people. And
Mhm.
so for her, she was very resistant to trying these things because she would think about what are, I don't want to put words into her mouth, but like the fear of what it would look like to other people that if we tried this thing and it didn't work out, like what would that say
Mhm.
about us? Whereas for
Right.
me, I would look at it as like, how cool would it look to people if we tried something new and different and put ourselves out there? And if it doesn't work, I'm okay with that because it's not that I'm such a big person. It's more like that was kind of always part of my process is starting and
Right.
failing, starting and failing. So it wasn't something to me that was going to define me the same way. Um,
I'm sorry to interrupt, Erin, but
Yeah.
I really respect and admire that because, as mentioned, I'm from the same camp as Sarah, right? Where like when you're the firstborn daughter, like I cannot stress this enough. It's like the implicit responsibility that gets put onto your shoulders in terms of reflecting back to your parents that they are good and important people and looking after your siblings. I mean, it's so intense. And I do think that it creates a situation where we feel like if we're not perfect, we're nothing. Like we're valueless unless we're perfect. And it's a really, really difficult catch 22. Do you feel that you've been able to imbue Sarah a little bit more with this feeling of like it's okay to try and fail? Like Sarah, do you feel, having watched Erin's philosophy around this, that you feel a little bit more freed up or healed around this subject?
Yeah, I mean, Aaron and I are very different. At 20, I was always so concerned with uh, with what I looked like to people or what
Yeah.
people thought of me. I mean, it really meant something to me. At least I thought it meant something to me.
Yeah.
I was like, okay, if I go on this audition and I see a peer there, they're going to think, that I've failed as an actress because I'm auditioning for this Tampax commercial when I was just in this big movie, but I'm not really a good actress. So I didn't get another role in a big movie. And now I'm at a commercial audition for Tampax, truly. And I would suffer. I'd be like,
Mm.
I'm not good. Well, I'm not
Mm.
this. I'm not that. Where Aaron's like, shit, I got to pay the bills. I'm going to get a job at Free People. And I needed to do that because I needed money, but I was like, I can't go do that. So I'm going to go
Mm.
figure out other ways, and
Right.
Aaron had no ego around it, at all.
I love that, Erin.
Aaron has definitely helped me, in so many ways. But when it came to the clothing, that the seed was planted for us in the clothing business as a little t-shirt collaboration with like a little random company that had reached out to Aaron, who just made t-shirts and sweatshirts, saying, you and Sarah are really funny. Would you guys ever want to do captions for t-shirts and sweatshirts? Okay. Now Aaron goes, this sounds cool. I hear that and I go, okay, great.
Loserville.
I'm a copywriter now. Okay. I mean, this was such a little deal that we didn't even have a contract. Okay.
So that's where the favorite daughter name came?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
We had a contract, just no lawyers looked at it, which was really
yeah.
smart of us. We
We
signed it at Hugo's over lunch.
God.
So basically, we, like 20 years ago or something, our dad wanted us to have an LLC with our sisters for like legal things. And I, being the person who always had to do everything, was the person who named it or whatever, and like was the executor who would sign things. So I just named it Favorite Daughter Music because, like every other parent, our dad would joke when he was alone with us that we were the favorite. And so everybody's being told that they're the favorite when you're alone. And then you talk to each other and realize that he's been telling everybody this. So it was just like a joke, like a nothing, call it Favorite Daughter Music. So then when we were doing these t-shirts, I thought I was so clever coming up with like dying alone with like a cat on it, or like currently peaking, like all these things that I thought were super clever. Undiscovered model.
They are.
Thank you.
Well, honey, they didn't sell.
They didn't sell.
No.
Sarah goes, oh, let's do one that says Favorite Daughter. And I was like, that's cheesy. No, that's boring. And she's like, Erin, we're doing like 20 of them. Let's just do one. I was like, fine. So we do Favorite Daughter, put a little heart on it. and $2 million of sales in one t-shirt. And we're
Come
like, "That's
on.
weird." Yeah, nothing else sells except for this dumbass t-shirt. And so we're like, "That's interesting." And basically this company Centric took notice of it because this t-shirt started being everywhere. And,
By the way, and therein lies our partnership, right? Like, it's
mhm,
like the things that, she came up with this idea 20 years ago, but then I brought it back around. She shit on it, but I did it anyway. It's like
mhm.
the ebb and flow and this sort of
Because
it's
I wanted it
very
to be edgy. I wanted us to like come up with like snarky things, and it
Yeah.
felt like cute. All these people were buying it for their 8-year-old daughters, and like buying it for all three of their daughters. They'd wear it in a picture together, like a joke. And I was like, cute, but that's not what I'm going for. I'm going for like hard comedy. And I was wrong. This is the thing that worked. And so
Wow.
a company came to us, Centric, and they said, we want to start a fashion brand around this IP. And it was something that had never occurred to us. We weren't trying to do something bigger. And I think, again, Sarah's instinct is fear. Like, no, 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 no. Like, I don't want to put ourselves out there like that. Where
well, I
I
was just
thought,
sort of like, we're not doing a fashion brand. We're not fashion girls. Like, we don't even care about fashion. Like, we don't we dress
But
what
that's what's so refreshing about it in a way too, you know? It's like because what you are is like, your personal style. You guys always look really cute. It's a very California brand in my mind, you know? So it's like it turns it on its head. Like the whole point is that you're not like New York fashion bitches who take yourselves too seriously in that respect, right? You're like these gorgeous blonde, dress like yourselves, always look great sisters.
thank you.
thanks.
I think that what we realized is that there's fashion is such a strong identity of the it bag and the it coat and the $2,000 this and
Yeah.
coveted stuff, and you have to be on the list, and that's not who we are. And so that's not our brand. Our
Yeah.
brand, it turns out there's way more women in the world like us.
Yeah.
There's more girls like us because girls can't afford to be that person. And
Yeah.
even if Sarah and I could afford it, it's just not who we innately are.
Yeah.
So I think that the special sauce is a combination of us staying very true to ourselves, not who we want to be, not who we wish we were, but who
Right.
we actually are.
Mm.
Because I've always been intimidated. My best friend Jamie, she's like the most stylish person on the planet. Like, that's intimidating for me, right?
Mm.
I wish I could effortlessly throw something on. It's like a caftan with like feathers hanging off and it like looks effortless, but like that's not me. So
Mhm.
I think big part of it is accepting the truth of who we are and turning that into a superpower. And then also, if we sign up to do something, we really, really, really follow through with it. We stay focused on every detail, just the same way you did when you started Goop. It's not like you started something and then walked away. Like every single detail is being paid attention to. And you can't take your eye off the ball at any point. Sarah and I are still in every fitting. That doesn't change.
Same. I thought that was really interesting how you just said, we're very true to who we are, not who we wanna be or think we are. Like, how do you distill that down for yourselves? Like, do you think there's a freedom and just full acceptance of like, "Okay, I'm letting go of this aspiration that I'm gonna be X."
I just think there's a freedom in it. I think that resisting the truth makes you go crazy. And I think for me at least, it's not like I was born comfortable. It took me a really, really, really long time to stop trying to be something else. And I just got comfortable asking what a word meant, or, you know, on a trip, someone goes, "What's the last book you read?" I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. I haven't read a book in a year." I would have panicked and lied to somebody at that point if I was
Right.
25. I would have got like To Kill a Mockingbird. I don't know. I'd make something up that I thought was impressive. Like I just read it for fun. But like,
That would be insane if you
I
said the
know.
last book you read was To Kill a Mockingbird
But
at a
like
dinner
some
party.
annoying guy on a date would say that, and it would send me into a spiral about it. But I don't know. I just couldn't live like that any longer.
So how do you define yourselves, each of you? What are like the 3 to 5 kind of main values that you each carry?
Oh, shit. You mean oh, man. That's a good question, Gwyneth. Those hard see, I told you, Erin, she's a hard-hitting journalist.
That's
Those
not hard-hitting journalism, honey.
no,
Yeah,
I
that's
don't
not that
I'm
hard.
just really curious. I wanna hear how like, you were
yeah.
talking about the truth of who you really are, so what are some words that help elucidate that for us?
I mean, I think for myself, truth and honesty is sort of like the forefront of my persona and
Mm.
how I live. And for me, having integrity is really important. And I understand that might be obvious, but I mean, like, if I'm talking about someone behind their back, it is really important to me that I don't go then kiss their ass 2 days later. Like, I have to stay true to the things that I say, and I try really hard to do that.
Mhm.
I also am an anxious person, and I'm a really reactive person. It's really hard for me to not get, like, activated by things and to not have,
Mhm.
like, a jump reaction of defensiveness or justifying something. It's hard for me to apologize, just saying some of my negative things, and I really also accept myself,
Oh,
good and
I
bad.
love it. Sarah?
You know, I'm in an interesting place because I only really started taking a hard look at myself like 4 years ago, as you
Yeah.
know. You know, we would sit at the dinner table and you'd say to me like, "Well, are you in therapy?" And I would just look at you and be like, "No." And you would look at me and be like, "Okay." I mean, and you would lovingly be like, "I know some people if you'd like their number."
This is an intervention.
I've really realized over the last 4 years that I have a lot of unhealed shit, and it's
Mhm.
really crazy looking at it so late in life. I mean, it's like it's such a disservice I've done to myself because there's nothing you can't overcome.
Absolutely.
You can wake up tomorrow and change. I believe that. Yes, I believe, we are who we are, and there are certain things about me. I'm always just gonna kind of be flaky. I'm always gonna kind of be bad on text, even though my therapist is actually no, he texts me at 5:30 every day and he's like, "What's your text count at?" But I've realized
But yeah, Gwyneth, this is a very good time to be texting Sarah because her therapist has mandated that she respond to people.
no,
Wow.
that's
Well,
not true.
maybe I'll try again then, now that
No.
I know it's
Try.
part of the protocol.
But I do have deep anxiety. Like I want to be a perfectionist. I am a people pleaser. I avoid conflict, but yet then when I'm in conflict, I thrive in it because I love to just scream at somebody. I mean, I'm really like a fucked up person. Like it's crazy. Like I will stay in a bad relationship for way longer than I should because I want to avoid the conflict of leaving a relationship. I mean, I'm talking like, along, earlier relationships. I'll stay with like a bad agent, like an agent who like won't return my calls for 2 years. I still stay. I'm like, "Oh, well, I don't want to fire him even though he would love to probably get rid of me." I've just never known how to face conflict,
Mhm.
but then I'm very combative, like I love to say to someone like, "You can go fuck yourself." Like that doesn't stress me out to say that to someone, which is not normal,
I
you
know, I
know?
But
Like
but
love
when
it
it
when you
comes
get like that.
but when it comes to business, whenever I'm like, "I'm not fucking putting up with this shit. This is bullshit," Sarah panics, and it's like, "No, no, no, you can't say that to the person." Like, she has a very, like, "We're lucky to be here" kinda mindset where I'm
but
like,
I
"I'll burn the whole house down."
It's like a peacemaker mindset, which it's kind of like a let's not do anything to blow up the situation, you know?
But also in business, Erin is more confident because Erin has an innate talent. Erin is a writer. She will always be able to fall back on being really talented at something. I am more of a connector and like I don't even know what you want to say about me, but I feel like I always have to be churning. So when Erin is like, "No, let's walk away from this deal." I'm like, "Wait, what? No, you can't walk away because then if you walk away, then the deal might explode. And then where's my security?" Because financial security is a very,
Right.
we had a mom who was an amazing mom, but our mom, supported us on child support checks. Like that's how it works, right? Like
There
she
was
was the
scarcity. There was
there was
scarcity.
yes, and I knew when the child support check was late. I knew as the oldest daughter. So in my mind, I'm like, I don't want to
Yeah.
be living my life like that. So I have to constantly I'm always in fear that I will lose everything, that I will have nothing.
Right, so that makes sense then. You wanna keep things sort of as status quo because you could make something worse, right? By
Yeah. It's a terrible way to live, but
well, but I just wanna say, I think there's been a lot of growth from that,
yeah.
and, you know, like even deciding to, around this time when you started to look at yourself about 4 years ago, I think there was like you were very brave in how you started to think about the kind of life that you wanted going forward. And for example, how your romantic relationship dovetailed into that. And,
Yeah.
that is a very brave, difficult thing to do, as we've talked about a lot,
Yeah.
when you make a decision to not be with the father of your children.
Yeah.
But it is also a very self-honoring choice, and Tommy's awesome. It's not about that. It's about,
Yeah.
right, like the
Yeah.
reckoning of I need to release the real me and,
Yeah.
and be able to make decisions from that place.
Yeah. I mean, I've spent way too long just living in autopilot in so
Right.
many ways. I used
Right.
to say to you, I used to be like, it's like I'm at 37,000 feet in the clouds, like asleep at the wheel. Like I just don't, and that's not even, that was in every aspect of my life. I even found myself in the way that I parent. That's no way that we should live our lives as a mother, as a partner, as a founder of who, as a human, as a woman,
But don't you think it's like also no accident that, you sort of stuck a stake in the ground, claimed yourself, claimed your agency,
Yeah.
and then like all of this success started coming, I don't think that's an accident.
I'm so lucky that I have Erin as a partner because Erin wakes up and she has an abundance mindset. And not an abundance in get rich, but just an abundance. Just an abundance can be a million things. And it's such a great way to live. And I wake up the opposite of that. So if I didn't have a partner with that mindset, like I don't know. I mean, I would just I'd be on OnlyFans, I guess, which still not no, still not
It's
still
always an
not,
option.
we
And
should
Erin,
collaborate. We should collaborate on that.
one of the things that really like fascinates me about you is that you are an optimist. You
Mhm.
do come from a place of abundance. I mean, of course, you have your like dry, wicked sense of humor, but you are an optimist and you do have this sense of abundance that life is behind you. It's on your side. So
Mm.
Mhm.
how have you been able to, like when something really difficult, like you had 81,000 rounds of IVF, like
Mhm.
how did you remain so positive?
That's
And
crazy.
like I've never had a friend who's been through the ringer more on that front. And I know you've talked openly about it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I wouldn't have spoken about it.
Sure.
But how, like, I'm so interested in like, what was your philosophy around doing it, continuing to do it, the resilience? How did you conjure the resilience? Like, how did you stay so positive until you got the result?
There were a lot of times I didn't feel positive, I mean, there was a time where, like, I think after maybe 10 or 11 rounds, I, like, kinda had a mental breakdown, and I was like, "I need to go somewhere," and I don't remember if I asked or if she offered, but our little sister Jordan got on a plane. She had a baby. She lived in New York, and she got on a plane and met me in Sonoma, and we like turned our phones off for 3 days and drank wine and rode bicycles, and got massages and disconnected, and it like kind of
Mm,
saved me. It
right.
gave me another, I don't know, 3 or 4 years of going through it. Like it gave me some stamina, because I just felt like I was gonna lose my mind a little bit with the
Mhm.
frustration. So I hit breaking points. It's not like I was always positive, but I had a really strong faith that it was gonna work out, and I can only think of the comparison to finding my partner, because when I was flailing and going on bad dates and not in a place where it seemed like it was gonna work out, I just had this strong feeling that it would work out, and I didn't know how, but I did think it would, and I think
Mm,
a big part of the fertility faith and the love faith and the kind of faith everyone should have is it might not work out how you want it to, but it will work out if you allow
yeah,
it to. And
that's right.
I really felt like I will meet my person. And I remember having a very clear age in my mind at like when I was like 32 or something. I might not meet my person till I'm 41. That was an age that scared me. Like, I might not meet my person till I'm 41, and he might already have kids, and I might be a stepmom. And if that's how it works out, but it works out, I have to be okay with that. I don't like
Mm.
how that looks. I don't like how it sounds. I don't like how long it's going to take, but I have to be okay with it.
Sort of letting go of those, like, prescriptions, like the prescriptive, "My life has to look like this."
Yeah. And I don't know where that comes from. I think just because I had a harder time the first half of my life and Sarah had an easier time the first half of her life. And then we sort of switched roles and Sarah started to have a hard time because was looking at herself and I started to have an easier time. But
Mm.
my life didn't turn out the way I thought it was going to. It's very different. And I ended up
Mhm.
having a baby at 41. And that's not when I thought I was going to have a baby, you know? But now I look at it and I go, wow, the timing was really perfect. It just worked out.
So, like, it sounds to me listening to you that you have faith. Let faith, I don't, it courses through your body. Like this knowing, like, I know it's gonna be okay, I don't know how, right? Or I'm gonna let go of these preconceived ideas about how my life is gonna look in the time frame, which are very, very difficult for young women to do, especially in our culture, I think. So then you meet the love of your life, and it turns out that he's Jewish and you have to convert to Judaism.
Mhm.
And I'm so curious because, like, there are so many beautiful things in Judaism, especially the mystical side, which really resonates with me. And I come from this long line of mystical rabbis. Like, when you went through the process of converting, was there anything about the Jewish f- faith that you learned about that sort of like ratified or the internal faith that you had already? Were like, did you combine those things in any way? Or were you
Yeah.
just like, "No, I'm just converting so that this hot Jewish guy will marry me?"
I mean, a little bit of both, I guess. But like 15 years ago, my girlfriend Sophia Rossi, she got more religious in her Jewish faith, and she decided to sort of dive deeper into her Judaism. And I went to a few Jewish classes with her just because I had nothing else to do. And I was fascinated by it. And I weirdly like posted a picture on Twitter 15 years ago that was me holding a book about Judaism. And I said, like, attention, Jewish guys who make great husbands. I'm willing to convert. And it was just a joke. I just obviously in my mind heard Jewish guys make great husbands. And I thought, like, that would be a great life for me. Um, and then, 15 years later, it was happening. And I manifested it in some way that I didn't even understand at the
So
time,
crazy.
which is so funny. Um, I really think that the thing about Judaism that I really connected to was the idea that you're allowed to question everything and you're actually
Mhm.
expected to question everything.
Right.
So when I started to convert to Judaism, I was really nervous that I was going to end up having to do something that didn't align with me internally and that I would be faking it.
Yeah.
And that really, really scared me. I didn't want to sign up for something that didn't feel right to me.
Right.
And it was when I voiced that concern and the rabbi was like, "Great. These are exactly the conversations we should be having." I was thinking, wow, I'm in the right place.
Has it been additive for you?
Yeah, it has. I don't connect my faith to my life working out with religion, but I really like this feeling I have with Judaism where it's this framework that we can always come back to when we're feeling a little out of sorts. Simon
Mm.
and I travel, we work, and it's like, let's do Shabbat together. Let's have friends over. Let's have dinner. Simon's really good at saying, let's light the candles tonight and talk about our week. And let's talk about what we want to do better next week. And let's reconnect and let's be grateful for each other. That stuff is really like comforting to have. And
Mm.
I chose a partner who is very sentimental and very, focused on a connection and constantly reaffirming the connection and reestablishing it. And to me, there's a connection with Judaism in that because I don't know, it's like
Mm.
an inherently a part of the culture.
But I also think we grew up around chaos. And there's
Right.
something about the Jewish religion that is the opposite of that. It's like I've clinged to Judaism
I was
through
gonna ask you.
through Aaron and Simon and his parents Marina and Anatoly and the siblings Masha and Al. It's like it's this beautiful family that they they are so loving to one another. And it's
Mm.
not that our family wasn't loving. Of course but it was just chaos. And there's something about the way that the families that I've now met that practice Judaism that it's chaos in a more beautiful way. Does that make sense? Like, it's the coming together, it's the family, it's the connecting, it's the conversations, it's the listening, it's the showing up for one another. And we've all, through Erin and Simon, now we get to experience it's a whole new experience for our family.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Don't you know any nice Jewish husbands for your sister, Erin?
Oh my God, that would be amazing.
You know what? I think
my
I
God.
feel season 3 of Nobody Wants This coming along.
Oh my God.
This is a perfect segue because you obviously wrote this wildly successful show for Netflix based on, well, loosely semi based on your relationship with Simon and the conversion, and Sarah, you produced it. I mean, again, like, I cannot tell you how thrilling it was when you guys are like, yeah, we're like, I don't know, we're just working on, I'm sure it's nothing. Like, we're doing this show for Netflix, and then it's like the biggest hit of the year and Emmy nominated. So proud. So how did you parlay this story of your life? Like, how did you even start to, were you like, this is just a great story because you're a writer, you're like, oh, this is comedy gold, like I'm writing all this real life stuff down and I'm going to turn it into a TV show?
It was
No,
really Ollie. It was Ollie.
yeah, it was a big part was Ollie. Ollie Opes, who's our producing partner and manager at 3 Arts. No, honestly, when I met Simon, I kind of stopped writing because I'd just come off of a pilot that I had shot that did get made that I really thought should get made. I was very kind of like disenchanted with everything, and I was almost 36, and I was sort of like, I don't know what I'm chasing, but I don't really want to chase it anymore. I really want to be a wife and a mom, and like that's my next chapter. And so when I met someone who was not in entertainment really in this side of it, he wasn't chasing that thing, and we started to establish this sort of domestic life together, I just thought, this is kind of what I want now. And this
Yeah.
isn't really funny, right? Like, what am I going to write about? I was always writing about my failures or bad dates or bad relationships, and that was really funny to me. And there wasn't anything funny about this to me. I was like, it's really sweet and wholesome and like
And I read that
beautiful.
you were slightly worried that was going to make you like a less sharp comedian, writer.
Yeah, I definitely was, because Simon has never dated anyone who's in the spotlight like this. He's never dated anyone whose life is out there. He's very private. He comes from an immigrant family. Like, you don't talk about anything.
Yeah.
So the idea that I was going to write something that was inspired by our life was very challenging for us at first, because Simon was like, no, you can't do that. Like, you can't write
Interesting.
about us. No, you can't make fun of my family. Like, that's not okay. So it kind of shut me down creatively. I didn't really know what to pull from if I wasn't allowed to make fun of my relationship. I didn't really know what I was supposed to write about. And Ollie was kind of like, what are you doing with your life? Like, why aren't you writing? This is so weird. We should write about this and find a way to do it. And so he pushed me to, and then I did it. And I found a way to not make it, in a lot of ways, Simon probably pushed me to tell the better story, which is the more wholesome story, which is about these two people loving each other, instead of it being all about the
Toxic.
comedy. Yeah,
Right.
it wasn't about making fun of this connection. It was about celebrating it. And, the irony is that I feared it wouldn't be funny or interesting enough to write about. And then, you know, unintentionally, it ended up being this like celebration of healthy love and the celebration
Yes.
of like grown up love, and two people who really should be able to make it work, trying really hard to get over their shit for each other. And that
Right.
absolutely is what we were doing in real life. I just didn't really realize that that was going to resonate for everyone, that part of it.
And Sarah, what's your role in it? Like, what do you from a hands-on perspective? Are you coming up with story? Like, what does a producer do?
When it came to this specific, this was just like one of the 5 projects that we had an overall deal
Yeah.
at 20th. And this was sort
Which
of
is
one of
so
the
cool, by the way. I mean,
which is so cool, but as
so
you
cool.
know, it's impossible. You think you have something great, we were
Yeah.
really developing things that we thought were really good and edgy and funny and had all the things, and even if someone buys it, it dies. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
it's crazy. It's like, just when you're you never know when to celebrate in this
Mm.
business. So
Mhm.
Shiksa was one of 5, which was, I think, one of 5 projects we had in development under our deal. And originally we had sold Shiksa. I think it was just me, Ollie, and Erin in the room. We sold it to 20th. They were like, yeah, this is great. This is great. And I started thinking to myself, I was like, this business is so cutthroat. Like, how is this not going to be one of the 5 other projects that is never going to see the light of day? Like, what do we do? How do we
Right.
actually get this freaking bought? So I was like, I think we need to bring in like someone major to come on board. And I think this person needs to come on board, and their name and their influence and it's going to help. It's going to, as we know, it's like a package situation. Like, you got to, whatever. So we brought Steve Levitan on, who created Modern Family. So that's what a producer does. A producer is like, how can we get this bought? How can we actually put ourselves in the best position to get this on the air? And so from there, you have your relationships at places. I had a relationship at Netflix. And then once you're there, then yeah, I'm involved in breaking story and storylines and editing and on set. That was season 1. But this is Erin's show. I mean, Erin's the creator, and I'm not a writer by any means, but
But you're so funny and you're so
I think
clever.
I have a pretty good idea of like what people want. I understand what people want,
Yeah,
and
I think
I
that's right.
love, and so, you're involved in casting and you're involved in all of
Mhm.
those things, but
So what is it like now that it's like you guys are, how old are you? 42 and 44?
yeah.
What is it like to, like, at 42 and 44 have this monster hit?
I mean, it's really validating. It is really validating. It's so weird. Like, no one ever, I mean, no, it's hard for people to let you enjoy things, because it's always about what's going to
Yeah.
happen next, whether
Yes, of
it's your
course.
baby or
Everyone's
it's your
asking what
relationship or it's your show.
next
And,
show.
Yeah.
and by the way, as big as a hit as the show was, people will be on to the next thing, a year from now. And that just naturally happens. And so I can only speak for myself. I'm trying to really enjoy it. For me,
Mhm. Good.
as a writer, I think that, when you're a writer, you're putting your thoughts and your views on the world and a relationship. I mean, you're married to one, out in the world to see what people think of it. And I've done it many times. When people say to me, like, this is so crazy for you, like your first show and it's a hit. I'm like, bitch, this is my first show. This is just my first hit, you know? So
Totally.
I've had a lot of stuff that I've tried to put out there, and when you're getting feedback that's like, it's missing this or it's missing that, or you don't really write real jokes or hard jokes, or it's not really about anything. There's no big event that's happening.
Right.
What's the engine? It makes you think like, maybe I'm not cut out for this, or maybe I don't have what it takes. So to have
Mm.
this land the way that it did really kind of undid a lot of those fears that had been instilled in me, which was like, I don't have it.
That's so great. And do you feel like it kind of paved those cracks over, like, and gave you
Yeah.
more confidence?
Yeah, because the things that I was told I didn't have as a writer are the things that people like about this show. So, I don't think that I could write the next James Bond movie. I don't think that is what I'm right for, I just think that there's a lane now that I can do, and I don't feel a need to be in every lane. I'm happy to be good at this lane. I'm happy to be good at the rom-com lane. I like this lane. I don't need to be all things to all people because I just don't think I'm capable of it.
We need rom-coms in this day and age anyway,
I
guys.
think so
By the
too.
way, we have one for you.
Oh, great.
Oh,
Well,
yeah,
I'm
that's true.
retired.
Well, you're
Oh,
gonna have to unretire, honey.
unretired, yeah. It's
Okay.
like a vasectomy, they can be undone.
You're
That's
gonna
true.
have But
That's true.
Erin, it's so true. It's like, I remember the studio saying to us about one project or whatever, like, it reads like a play, it reads like a play. Like, it's not, and Erin's like, but that's how I write. Like, not Shiksa, but it was like another project. She's like, but I write, I have, that's how people talk. That's how people
Right.
connect. That's how
Right.
relationships evolve. Like, it's long-winded conversations with awkward pauses and and it turns out that, like, she didn't change her style to fit into what executives want. She's like, well, this is just how I write. If it's not going to get bought, it's just not going to get bought, and we have a million other things we can do, you
Right.
know and nobody wants this. reads like a play because that's how people talk.
Yeah.
And that's how you
Yeah.
fall in love with characters, So it's,
I think when it comes to talking about like not knowing if your career is going to work out or not knowing if your relationship's going to work out and all these things and having faith, it's like the thing that I've learned is when you're dreaming about your perfect partner, your perfect job, like you don't even know your own potential. It could be so much
yeah.
better than you even are imagining. And so when you open it up to being different than how you see it, it's like it it's probably gonna end up being better than you thought it was, but
Yeah.
different. Maybe being a stepmom is literally gonna be the most rewarding thing that you've ever felt, or it's going to be the relationship that you didn't realize you were ever gonna have. It's like with my engagement ring. I didn't even know my own potential. I was sending this guy rings that were very small. I had no idea when he gave me something I didn't want, it was gonna be even better than I had imagined.
That is an
Didn't
insane, like what? What where did that's
Sometimes we don't even know our own potential.
but doesn't it kill you, GP and Erin, when you like thinking going back to our 20s and our 30s and obviously we speak to women on our podcast. I think most of your audience is probably female. Don't you just want to shake the 27-year-olds that write us going like, I'm turning 30, my life is over. I don't know what I'm
Mm.
doing. You're like, "Oh my God, you're an infant. The
Mm.
best years are ahead of you." And you can't we can only look at it through that lens now that we're here and that life is now good, and you can't see that when you're 30. But God, I mean, our 20s suck so bad. They
The
suck.
20s are it's like a double bind, is the 20s are so inherently difficult.
Oh,
None of us know who the fuck we are or what we're doing or where we're trying to go, and then we have this incredible societal pressure that we're supposed to be married and have a kid by the time we're 30. I don't know where. I mean, this is like a relic from, like, the days of having to have kids when you're 16, like, when you're it's so crazy.
Mhm,
That's the one thing that I wish the most, is that the 30s are the most incredible time for real discovery. That's when you really start to get a sense of who you are and what you want. You can start I wasn't married when I was 30.
mm,
I didn't have a kid when I was 30. I felt so much pressure. I felt like I was failing. I felt, and it's so stupid, as you say, like the 30 is so young. And especially now with, like, fertility technology,
mhm,
you can there's no time pressure the way that there
mhm.
used to be as well.
Well, and the time that you're just starting to kind of discover your career self and figure out who you are is right when you're supposed to be having the baby and getting married, and it's
well, it's
really
right when they're
hard.
telling you your eggs are getting old.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's exactly right when you're feeling like I'm living up to my potential. I'm doing the
Mhm.
thing I want to be doing in my career. It's like, oh well, your eggs are going to be of no use in 2 years. I mean, it's just
Yeah. Are you guys allowed to tell me any little tidbit, any little teaser on season 2? When does it come out, first of all?
Comes out October 23rd. Season 1 was, you know, these 2 people meeting and figuring out what to do with these feelings, and it ended with him choosing her over his career, and so season 2 is figuring out how they're supposed to make that work. It's really what the next 4 months look like in that
Right.
relationship.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I feel really good about it. I have to say, I feel really good about it.
And I have to say too, like, I love so much this, like, and you touched on it earlier, something that's so original about the show, which is like a paradigm of a good, healthy relationship. And people, so often we see in romantic comedies, it's like the girl, being stood up, and it's like all the
Mhm.
examples of terrible guys. And it's like she has to traverse through a series of bad guys in order to, and I just love that it's just about these two really good people that are
Well,
committed to this.
'cause I mean, you're in a great relationship. I'm sure you've experienced a version of this, which is being in toxic, complicated relationships is a little easy because you always have something you can blame for why it's not working, and you can always
Exactly.
make it the other person's fault, and you can
That's right.
kind of behave badly the whole time because it's like there are no rules. And
Yeah.
then when you meet someone and you're in a healthy relationship, you have to be
All your shit gets exposed.
Yes, it really does. You
It
can't
really does.
blame them for everything because they're not cheating and lying and pulling shit and saying one thing and doing another. They're showing up. And so you have to show up and you have to speak respectfully and you have to listen to their version of the story and you have to like better yourself and you can't slam doors and you can't cuss them out and you have to like be a real person.
Yeah.
And I think that that felt really interesting to me to have that be the relationship that you analyze when you really want to be good enough for the relationship because that person's showing up.
I couldn't agree with you more, and I think, we need more examples of that in the culture,
Yeah.
Don't you feel like we're so used to seeing the dynamic in, modern day television where it's like, it's the guy that's unsure. It's like the guy that's like, I don't know, like, I don't know. And it's usually the girl like really wanting the commitment.
Right.
And I think that's something else that people really gravitated to was seeing that reversal. It's like, it was nice to see the man know exactly what he wants. Like, I want you and I'm willing to, do whatever it takes to be with you. And
Yes.
it was her kind of vacillating between, I don't know, I don't like my career, my this. Like it's just like I think people really loved that dynamic as well.
There's a theme here. Nice Jewish husbands. I'm telling
Yeah.
you, Sarah.
Sarah, be open to it. But I think also the more than that, I felt like I was sick of seeing dynamics in shows where you have a strong woman and the nice guy is sort of passive and soft. And you
Uh,
think in real life, this would never work. He would never be able to manage a woman like this. He would never be able to like, hold all of this. And she wouldn't
Right.
stay attracted to this guy. And so I really didn't want to show a dynamic that I couldn't see working in real life. Wait,
It's so amazing.
is Brad Jewish too?
Yes.
Hello, Erin. Where have you been?
I don't know. For some
Right.
reason, I didn't think of him as Jewish, but I guess he is Jewish too. And you're Jewish. God, Sarah, you really need to join the party.
Well, I'm half technically, and some of my more religious friends don't accept me because my dad is the one who's Jewish. But
Yeah, but that's old school. I mean, Reform
I
Judaism
agree.
totally accepts father and mother. I mean, that was just
I
when you
know.
didn't know who someone's father was. You just determined it by the mother because you knew for sure that was their mother. But now,
I know, guys. There's DNA tests. Like,
Can I also just say, like, I love this podcast so much. I was saying to somebody, you, like, I'm not going to just now, well, I will toot your horn a little bit, but you are at the forefront of pivoting and doing things where you don't know how people are going to receive it. And like, nobody was doing podcasts when you started this podcast. I think when you started this podcast, I was like, what's a podcast? No, I'm not even kidding, and it's like so cool that to be on this podcast, and I'm such a like I love this podcast. I listen to this
Thank
podcast, and I listen
you.
to like All In and The
Same.
Daily,
Yep.
and like that's it.
Thank you,
Basically,
Sarah. That's so nice of you. It's
no,
great.
I just like you are such a freaking trailblazer, and it's like you're so inspiring to all of to your friends, to people that
Oh my
don't know.
God.
But you got to be able to you're the worst at taking
I
a
know.
compliment. Everyone knows you're amazing.
I'm like bright red. Stop talking about it.
Oh
it's
my
true.
all right. Well, but it's just so nice of you to ask us to be on your podcast.
No, I love, I really wanted to have you guys on because I think you both are like separately and together this incredibly, like, I love how outspoken you both are, how honest you both are. I love how you sort of clash and combine paradigms like, oh, we're supposed to be like, if we're pretty, then we can't have a personality and we can't have a brain and we can't like say the really true thing. Like, I love how you guys are sort of punk rock in that way and how you're so yourselves. And I know you said earlier that you don't like confrontation, Sarah, but like one of my favorite things about you is how forthright you are, and how you aren't afraid to say the confrontational thing when it needs to be said. So I'm really inspired by you guys and I love seeing this like incredible success blossoming in your 40s. And it's like, it's so exciting to see. And I think it sets such an amazing roadmap for other women who are like, 'cause so many of us are like, what are we doing? What
Mm.
direction should I go in? And like, could this ever happen? And so it's just so inspiring.
I
I
guess we're
love
all
you.
really inspired by each other. It's cool.
It's also so helpful doing it with someone else. Like, I really
Yeah.
encourage young listeners,
Mhm.
find a partner. Like, I want my daughters to go to college, not because what they're
Yeah.
gonna major in is gonna be the career path they take, but they're gonna meet their people there. They're gonna meet their future co-founders, their future, mentors, their future people they're gonna start businesses with or who they're gonna work for. Like, it's all about connection in every which way, and yeah, Erin and I are sisters,
Yeah.
so it's like a built-in situation, but not really. I mean, I do
No, but I
encourage
think you're
people.
absolutely right. Like
Yeah.
the having a co-founder, right? Like
Oh,
Yes.
yeah.
it's so I mean, I wish that I had a co-founder. I've had to build my business by myself, and as an
Yes.
artist, I was by myself. I think you're absolutely right on that.
Yeah, I mean, there are certain things it's a solo mission. It's a one-person thing, but I do encourage people to put yourself out there and
Find
find
a
someone to
creative
do
counterpart.
find someone to do this with, to do,
Guys, go on Bumble Biz
Yeah.
and
Y
find
Yeah.
yeah.
I love you guys. You're the best. Aaron, I'll see you on the chat in about
Yeah,
8
I mean,
seconds.
literally, I'm sure we have, like, 26 missed messages on the chat.
What do you guys do? You guys just, like, sit around
We
and, like,
can't talk about it.
oh, whatever. You guys get a life, okay? I mean, what is this? You're just like, oh, the laundry detergent." Like, it's like GP, when you wanna talk about real shit, call me up, okay? And
I love you both so much.
Thank
Thank
you so much
you.
for having us.